Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to PowerPoint Karaoke. Yes, I am your host tonight, Rick Goddard. I do breakfast radio for ABC Hobart, but I also actually have for the last 10 years been the person who teaches effective speaking at UTAS summer and winter schools. It's the best teacher feedback they've had for any course in the history of the whole uni. So I don't do it anymore. Suckers! But far out, do I know what I'm talking about when it comes to saying things authoritatively about which I do not understand. And tonight is a celebration of that. Round of applause, yes. Tonight at PowerPoint Karaoke is a chance to celebrate, in a way, some of the worst things about science. First of all, presentations. They're mostly dreary and terrible, doing them's horrible, watching them's worse, but they're such an important part of the life that we do, and the skills in delivering them are what we'll celebrate tonight. Anyone in the audience can enter PowerPoint Karaoke. Hooray! Yes! You just put your name down. There's 20 places, and it's very important that there's even representation, so don't be dull and shy. Be like, no, my voice needs to be heard, talking rubbish about nothing. The world needs more of that. There's a bunch of slide presentations that have been pre-created, and if you put your name down to present, the first thing is we give you a free beer. Free beer. I'm really sorry if you like cider. Bad luck. I don't really like beer, but I would still take it if it's free, because I'm cheap, and we want cheap, trashy people up here on stage doing their worst. Is that right, ladies and gentlemen? Also, you will be interpreted by sign language professionals tonight, ladies and gentlemen, who are doing a fantastic job. And you're allowed to use rude language and swear. Yeah, no punching down, no races, none of that dull stuff, but you can swear as much as you like. You can say things like shit. And watch the translator. Bugger that for a laugh, me old crocker mate. All night. There are some people who've brought children here, but it's because they don't love them enough to get a babysitter. So they'll just have to live and learn, kids. I'm sorry. You can handle it. Science is about getting down with the nitty-gritty, cutting people open, all that kind of stuff, blowing up things. It's good. Now, I'm not wearing this hat because it's a disgrace to fashion, but look, the runner-up wins this and this. No, the runner-up wins this. And the winner of tonight's championship wins the inaugural Beaker Street Gold Beaker, which is full of gold money, possibly chocolate, and this Beaker Street Championship Memorial Viking helmet, full of plastics to kill seabirds and cultural appropriation to last the ages, ladies and gentlemen. So, wow, far out. This is awesome. Look at that. Like, covet that and be excited. Now, tonight is judged on audience applause. So the louder you clap for the act, and we'll do a reclap at the end, the more chance they have of winning these amazing trophies. The people getting up tonight are brave, possibly egotistical or insane. I don't know, but they deserve your encouragement. So can we just have a big practice of cheering when someone comes on stage? Laughing at their slightly weak joke, but really giving it to them with generosity. And then when they just cross that line, the big ooh. And we just all look at the floor until they say something else. That's good. Do you want me to do a mini demonstration? Okay, so the way it's going to work is we'll be like, and this is dreadful because I did do trust falls and theatre sports in the 1980s, and I thought I would never have to do this shameful thing again, but they've asked me to. Can I have a suggestion from the audience, please, of a great title of a scientific presentation? Sex education. Sex education. Thank you so much. That's, sorry? The dolphins. Sex education for dolphins. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege for you to be here today. My name's Flick Roddard. Tingle Pangleponks the Third. And today I'm here to talk about dolphin sex education. It might be surprising to you, but the prime tool that we're using in dolphin sex education is cats. Because they're mean bitches. Next slide, please. As you can see from the data array above, we aerially deployed the cats into parts of the ocean around Maria Island. Swim, pussy, swim! We scientifically shouted. Next slide, please. You don't need to say it, I mean, she'll get the vibe. In the end, much to our surprise, the cats just kind of wandered off and did their own thing and showed no interest at all in what we were doing, and occasionally then sat on our work while we were trying to get it finished. So we threw some horses at them. Take that, cats. Finally, our dedicated scientist, my beautiful assistant, Maria, offered to demonstrate for the dolphins the movements they would need to be more seductive in order to save the population around Maria Island, who had become impotent as a result of watching too much Netflix and spending too much time on Facebook. A lot of our early findings were removed by 85% of garbage truck drivers. But actually, we're on the eastern shore and there's no recycling at the moment, so they're still out the front of our house. Has anyone got a ute? You know, you get the idea anyway. Okay, you get the vibe, that's it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Honestly, you've got 3 minutes. Just that amount of time, I don't know how that long it was, but it was like that was the longest time of my life. That was frightening. It was really scary, but you were beautiful and supportive. So give yourselves a round of applause. And give at least that back to our PowerPoint karaoke contestants. Yes! Give it a cheer. Oh, rowdy. Science is the new sex. This is so fun. Okay, our first contestant tonight, they're extremely brave. They offered to go first to just break the ice, to open it up, or maybe it's a competitive strategy because they're just thirsty for beer and fake horns. Moobrew need to rethink their packaging. Thanks, Moobrew, our sponsor. So please make riotously welcome tonight our first contestant in the first ever Lucharawita PowerPoint Karaoke. It's Jack.
Thank you. I don't actually drink. Stick to the meth and the heroin.
Oh, hang on a second. Wait a second. We'll just get through this. I've got to get a topic for you, Jack.
Oh, yeah, we've got to get a topic.
Right, sorry, so professional. All right, some ideas, suggestions for topics from over here. Flowers? Oh, clouds. Any other ideas? Clouds?
Clouds?
Nuclear warfare? Sorry? Porn. Okay. Cloud porn. Ladies and gentlemen, on the topic of cloud porn, it's Jack.
It's actually very fortunate I did my PhD in cloud porn. Now, here we had the first exhibit. As you can tell, I'm a New Zealander, so I'd just like to start with some of my... These are my previous girlfriends. Sally in the middle, what a treat. She loved clouds. Boy. Okay, can we move on to the next slide? That's just a little photo from home. I'm a university lecturer, so this is the position I'm in for about 37 hours a week. It is an exhausting position, but that's just another diagram about my life. And I was in this position getting aroused as I looked out the window, and that was when I decided to change my research career from curing Alzheimer's disease and cancer, waste of time, onto cloud pornography. Woo! Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you. This was me before I started my research project. Once you get off the weights, because you're doing research, you really lose muscle mass. So if you are a scientist out there, I just warn, stay in the gym even if you find a topic as fascinating as cloud pornography. Now, I promise the next slide is going to be about cloud pornography. Next slide, thank you. It's our future, right? Internet costs money. What is more free than cloud pornography? If you can use your imagination, pornography is everywhere, particularly in Tasmania. You just need to look up, and there it is. We're saving money. We're getting rid of the abusive nature of pornography. There's no victims other than the clouds. And perhaps the people who have to clean up public parks. Next slide, thank you. This is a warning. The more caffeine you take, it stunts your imagination and your libido. So here we have sales of cloud pornography. They managed to monetize pornography, you know, capitalism, jeebus. And this is a warning to say the more caffeine you consume, the harder it is to visualize a cloud as a pair of boobs. Okay, so can we move on to the next slide? There was a problem. After we introduced cloud pornography as a concept, cleaning up the space station became a big trouble. They circle the Earth every hour and a half. They see more clouds than any human on or off the planet. Their toilet is a suction device, which is actually multi-purpose in the presence of cloud pornography. Next slide, thank you. What the frick is that? Next slide, next. This is my favorite thing to imagine in the clouds. Don't kink shame. This is a very common thing to be aroused by. Next slide. I don't need that personal kind of stuff up there. All right, so one of the other problems we had with cloud pornography was we started to find sexually transmitted diseases in the raindrops that they produced. It was a huge problem, so I would recommend a transparent umbrella that you can now see through, and you're not putting anything up in the air and then it's not coming back down. So that's just safe pornography. It's important. Last slide, just to finish it off with a crescendo. Don't lawnmower and cloud pornography. It's a dangerous mix. Thanks. I'll finish with a warning. Thank you very much.
Jack, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I mean, it's not that scientific at this point, isn't it? Because there's no baseline to operate from. So, Jack, you're the baseline. Thank you very much. It's pretty hard, eh? It's pretty tough. Yeah, but our next competitor is not going to be held back by this. This person is a radio personality, they're a communicator, they're a science revolutionary, and they're the only person here tonight dressed better than me. Ladies and gentlemen, Ash! All right, can we have topic suggestions for Ash, please? Noodles? Poodles?
Oh, but I love noodles.
Poodles and noodles.
Poodles and
Ash, there we go.
noodles.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you love it?
I can do
Yes.
this.
Ash, come on.
Thank you, thank you. First slide. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen for that dog? That wasn't it. Come on. Thank you. Can I get an amen? Don't do it for that cat. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm not here to talk about capitalism's greatest warrior, cats. Every time you open your phone, cat video. Every time, any part of the internet, it's just utterly covered in cat videos. No, I am a researcher who cares about bringing important things back into your life. I'm a researcher who cares about destroying that capitalist magnate and bringing back the good parts of living, such as dogs, and especially dogs with little noodly ears like that. They're adorable and they bring us joy. Next slide, please. Now, you might think, dogs, noodles, what do they have in common? And importantly, how do you study them? Well, as a statistician, You can use maths for absolutely anything. I am not kidding you. Next slide. And when you take all that maths and you input your dogs and your noodles, you input those important things in your life, you get ridiculous graphs like this. How are you supposed to understand this? You're not, but you are supposed to look at it and think, oh, that looks a lot like a bunch of noodles. Oh, hungry, hungry. Next slide, please. Now, I like to diversify. As a researcher who studies the intersection between noodles, dogs, and happiness, I found that there was one thing with noodles and poodles they had in common: the letter O. I'm getting desperate. You may be surprised to find that the double letter OO is actually the most interesting and happy sound a human can hear. Noodles, poodles, moose. I know I felt something there, so I hope you all did too. Next slide. And again, in the same vein, other double letters, such as in intelligence, affluence, and there are definitely L's in flatulence, just not as interesting. You may think flatulence, hilarious. I absolutely love to laugh at a fart. But no, it does not bring you as much joy as a noodle, a poodle, or a moose when you go, ooh. Next slide. As said by one of my most favourite mentors, I absolutely love this man, Maximilian Fitzpatrick. Life is a potato. I think you can take from that what you will. Next slide. I love these really simple graphs. Now, of course, this one will not bring you as much joy as the first graph I showed because it does not look like a delicious bowl of noodles. But I have found that in my research, those that do not ingest enough noodles, poodles, moose, or the letter OO in their life, they have increased stress and, oddly, stapler accidents. Correlation, causation? It's unclear at this point. Next slide. But of course it is difficult to juggle research in a field of noodles and poodles. But we try and do it for you. We're here for you as the people. We're here to study what brings you joy, what brings you happiness. And if I have to spend my life juggling ridiculous double-lettered studies for that, I will do it for you. And all over the world, other researchers also care about you and noodles and poodles and their intersection with happiness. We have research centres all across, mainly Russia, oddly. I'm not quite sure. But honestly, the Russians, they just absolutely froth a poodle. Really into them. And we will accept their research. Next slide. No. Next slide.
Ash, take your beer if you want your beer. Didn't they do a great job, Ash? Really sold it like science, and won't we all go home and go, noodles, poodles, moose. I'll never unhear that. That's amazing. Let's just keep the night rolling along here at PowerPoint Karaoke, ladies and gentlemen, with our next contestant. Let's bring to the stage Victor. Woo-hoo! All right, Victor's coming up to the stage here. This is one of our younger contestants, that's right.
Hello.
He's been raised by scientists, so he's probably heard a lot of bullshit at home, so, or mainly anger about funding, probably. Or just talk about funding, you'll always get a laugh. Okay, suggestions now for Victor. Dinosaurs and? Safe hand washing. Is that your mum?
No.
Oh, okay. Sounds like the sort of thing your mum would say. Can we have one on alien dinosaurs? Will you do that for us?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Victor, Australia's greatest expert on alien dinosaurs.
Well, if life is like a Nintendo game, well then, if I'm technically a simulation, well then you guys can just imagine me to do anything I want. But in relation to this, you know, you see, I think that weird-looking elf dude looks like a dinosaur, and sort of in a weird Martian-like planet. Mercury. All right, next slide. I can explain. So, basically, when you think of alien dinosaurs, you don't really see this in your head. Look, this is just random Google searches that I found on the internet. Next slide. Average normal American here. So, this is clearly not an alien or a dinosaur, but it's in space. The burger clearly looks like Earth. All right, next slide. No flash photography. It's not safe for cats. You know, they have very good vision. It's bright for them. Yes. So this is not a normal cat. This is an alien dinosaur. You can tell with the glowing eyes and the pink nose. And the glowing ears. Next. I can explain. I've been caught in 4K. All right, next slide. I don't mind about being invaded by them alien dinosaur thingies, as life is a potato anyways, but game. Next slide. This is clearly a foreshadow of the Olympics. As you can see, this is Olympic training at its best. Look, their motivation and the secret to being an Olympian is thinking about alien dinosaurs. It is a corporation all over the solar system. Next slide. I have no idea how to read that. And I'm pretty sure I'm not illiterate. As he once said, dinosaur aliens are beautiful creatures. Next slide. He needs a better phone. Next slide. That's what I call peak stunts. Just like what my cat does every day on the couch. He loves alien dinosaurs. Because of him, he just graffitis the words on the walls every day. Bye.
On behalf of Victor, I'd like to accept this beer. I'd like to thank the sponsors. Good on yous. Nice one. Look, I mean, not all science has to be comprehensible, right? It's just you're not ready for it. That was amazing, Victor. That was abstract. And you do those in science, right? Victor, ladies and gentlemen. How you going? You all right? Yeah. How do you deal with me talking to you while I'm talking to you, but you have to do that? Do you want a beer? Okay, all right. I'll look after it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, PowerPoint Karaoke, how are you going so far? Yeah, the science is real, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, these climate people have been doing this rubbish for years, and look where we've ended up. Oh, my God. We've got some legislation now, huh? Come on, the legislation. No, you hate it, don't you? It hasn't gone far enough? Hasn't got, okay. Gee, that fizzed hard, didn't it? I was going to have my beer. No, I mean, like, it's something. I talked to Senator Wish Wilson on the radio. He was literally crying out of his ears, you know, but is it a step forward? He's like, no, Rick, not really. I was diving the coral reef. I'm like, what are you, a thirst trap now? He's like, yeah, baby. Senator Surfer, so good. All right, PowerPoint karaoke, here we go. Our next contestant, ladies and gentlemen, coming up onto the stage. Make Alfie welcome. Alfie taking his time, establishing a sense of mystery. Topics from the audience, ladies. From the middle, been a bit quiet. Topics for Alfie. Oh, hang on, what was that? Climate change and indigeneity. Sorry, I just want to hear that one. Okay, indigenizing climate change.
Am I the right person to talk about that?
You are not. Yes, Alfie.
Right, I am British, so I don't know how this is going to go. Yeah, I feel that right now. Next slide. Funny story, I got stopped in Sydney on the way here. They said, we don't want you back. So, yeah, long journey from the UK. And, wow, this is going to be a hard talk. You know, we don't have Indigenous people in the UK because we have the Celts, which is me. And just today I was talking to one of my flatmates, and I was like, oh, it's great, they've got this Indigenous panel on. It's going to be so interesting. It's such a new kind of thing to learn about. And then she said, you should do PowerPoint karaoke. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. That'll be great. I'm a scientist. It'll be something about science. Anyway, climate change, I can do that. Next slide, please. So, actually, I'm a scientist, and I am at IMAS. So, climate, this is just like run-of-the-mill for me. A little bit of the history about climate change. Basically, we put a load of climates in barrels, right? And we were like, what happens if you put the climate in a barrel? Who knows? And we were like, yeah, let's do that. Next slide, please. But then there were all these birds, and they kept trying to open the barrels, and the seals were there too, but they were kind of cute, and we were like, yeah, the seals can stay. That one, actually, that's my colleague Phil. He's now a published researcher. Anyway, I was kind of thinking about this, and I was like, I don't have any of these birds back in the UK. You know, we have pigeons. Shout out to pigeons. The rats of London, we call them. Anyway, so I was like, who do I go to about this problem? I've got all these birds opening my barrels, and I was like, well, the people who know this land, the people whose land this is. I went and met with some Indigenous leaders, and they were like, we could tell you about the birds. Next slide, please. They're predators, and they bloody hate climate scientists, and they will eat your research, and then you will have no funding, and you will die, and it is a slow death, and that's how they kill you. Next slide, please. So anyway, I was talking to these people, and I was saying, well, what do we do? And they were like, well, fuck off. Go anywhere else. And do your climate research there. Next slide, please. This is my dad. Handsome, right? I mean, good looks. My dad was not a scientist, actually. He was, don't know what he did. He caught the Black Plague and died. And this is all I have left. Anyway, next slide, please. So, climate science. Lots of stuff going on. Satellites, radiation, the sun, other terms, greenhouse gases. You know, it's all pretty scary. So there's all these people who are working with me, and they're like, you know, sending up satellites, and they're like, how do we observe the climate? What does it look like if we drive into space and look at it? Is it different to what the satellites tell us? And then this guy named Greg was like, I heard you're putting climates in barrels. I've got a tool bag. And I was like, Greg, you know, these are smart birds. They're opening our barrels. I don't know if a bag's going to work. And he goes, no, Alfie. It's an astronaut tool bag. This shit is designed for space. Your birds, they're not going to get in this. Next slide, please. But I wasn't sure if the birds wouldn't get into the bag. So I go and talk to my guy Schrodinger, and I'm like, look, Schrodinger, I'm really worried. These birds, they're going to get into the bags. They're going to eat my climates. I'm going to have no funding. I'll die. So Schrodinger goes, hey, I've got this cat. I don't care if it lives or dies. Put the cat in the bag, and it will eat the birds. And I was like, Schrodinger, such a great idea. Next slide, please. Anyway, who knows what will happen with the climate? I do, we're fucked. But I just wanted to introduce you to some of my favorite people, the hottest people in IMAS, right here. Just all wearing the UTAS researcher uniform. If any of you, Victor, if you're looking to research alien dinosaurs, this is what you want to look like, right? You go in there, blue wash jeans, brown button-up shirt, and a blazer that doesn't really fit over your arms. Funding secured. Thank you very much.
Alfie, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. We threw him into a deep hole full of wolves and places where things could go wrong, and he came out with climates and barrels. That was an achievement. Round of applause. That was magnificent stuff. It's good work. Good work there. Welcoming to the stage now, honestly, when they suggested this to me, I thought this could be so bad, and it's just so entertaining, and I'm actually learning things, which is worrying because none of them are real. And to keep that knowledge coming, please welcome to the stage Gabriella, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly more popular than everyone else so far. Sorry, everyone else so far. She's got more friends than you. Coming to the stage. G'day, how you going?
Not too shabby, Gabby.
Yeah, good. Gabby.
Gabriella's
Not too
fine.
shabby, Gabby.
Well,
Okay.
Australians struggle with 4 syllables, but you look like a smart bunch.
It's so true. Well, they are, because it's Beaker Street. It's a festival for smart people. So smart people.
They let me
Suggestions
in, though.
for Gabby, who's not too shabby. Trampoline. Trampoline brain function.
Okay.
You like that. You're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm here for it.
It's an unbelievable privilege today at Beaker Street Festival to have one of the global experts. Her TED Talk has had over 12 million views on her incredible discoveries of trampoline brain function. Gabby, who's not too shabby.
Stop it. Thank you. More applause, please. Thank you. Before we could begin, Not Too Shabby Gabby, that's my name. So they brought me here tonight because I actually know nothing about science. And so I'm here to communicate to you all, to dumb it down. Yeah, cool. Okay, so trampoline, I've forgotten already, shit. Oh, thank you. Trampoline brain function. Obviously I need help with my brain function. Before I got to the trampoline, before I came up with the idea of the trampoline, I tried a lot of things. I tried Mexican food. They seem pretty smart. I tried coconut water. I tried eating insects. Didn't work. Next slide, please. I entered the danger zone. For y'all. I went on a road trip with some Olympic athletes, some trampolining Olympic athletes. There was 12 of us in a 6-seater van. It was a time. As you can imagine, there was a lot of foot odour. We entered the danger zone. That was exclusively all we sang the entire road trip. This cassette player was on a loop. The graph is actually, that's not a Venn diagram, that's just a, description of that trip. Next slide, please. Obviously, one of these animals has a higher brain function than the other one. I'm going to throw it out to the audience. Any ideas? No. Any ideas? Also wrong. Inaccurate. Next slide, please. Percentage of the pop crossing the road mortality. Yep. Okay, so all those people that died, do you know what they did? None of them used a trampoline to cross the road. Not very smart. Next slide, please. They were nice and adorable and elderly, but not very smart. Because they couldn't jump on trampolines. This is where we're getting there, we're getting there. Next slide, please. Please don't be an old person. Okay. So where do you sit on the metaphorical bus of life? Do you sit at the front? Do you sit at the back next to the emergency exit? I want you to think about that. How much longer do I have? For another 30? Yeah, 5 slides. No. Okay, next slide, please. Also, where do you sit on the weird wheelie thing of penny farthings stuck in a loop? Also something to think about with your brain function. That's not a trampoline. I didn't know what a trampoline was when I started my research, but that isn't it. Next slide, please. That's 2 bugs having sex, and I just thought you'd enjoy the image. Next slide, please. I did not think you would enjoy this image, but Cindy, my research assistant, put it in for some reason, because she probably does not have great brain function. Next slide, please. Okay. So the people jumping on the trampolines, we're circling back to the van full of Olympic athletes who are jumping on the trampoline. I required maximum compliance from those athletes, but they weren't very smart and quite docile, which worked well in my research. Continuing on. Next slide, last slide. Again, I'm going to have a word with Cindy after this. So it has nothing to do with trampolines or brain function, but also reminds us of a time when we could perhaps travel to far off tropical places in a Tassie winter, and with your brain function you can imagine that joyous occasion. Thank you very much.
Not too shabby, Gabby. Yeah. Works on the way in and on the way out. It's so good. PowerPoint karaoke, taking the beer. Ladies and gentlemen, our contestants so far doing a great job. But I reckon we're about halfway through so far tonight. We might close it off as well in terms of how we're tracking with time. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen, the competition. Coming into the grinding edge, we've got a bar, we've got a measure, we've got a standard to reach now. People have swum up here and not sunk. And the pressure is on for the next contestant who will join us now on stage. It's Shasta. Shasta is no stranger to fame and glory and was voted Best Dressed Tasmanian Scientist for 2011 through to 2022. Low bar, but she'll take it. Can we have suggestions for geometrics? Sorry, hang on. And? The geometrics of the vampire.
The geometrics of the vampire.
Of the vampire.
I hate you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shasta.
But especially you two. I've been drinking all evening, and I'm still not ready. Next slide, please. Perfect. Love that for us. Isn't this exciting? Fuck. I am Shasta. I am a vampiric geometer. Obviously. Absolutely nobody goes on their research journey alone, and so I would love to thank my loving partner, Dan, the man the donkey, the legend. Next slide, please. So research is tough. I don't think anyone would ever say otherwise, but being a vampiric geometer is really fucking tough. Like statisticians, fuck those losers. Space-stronauts, whatever. Vampiric geometers, fucking tough. Next slide, please. I can't say that this research hasn't had its ups and its downs, obviously. Because I know you're all asking, why, what, who, where are the ups and downs in vampiric geometry, which I do a lot of, and the next slide will definitely make that clearer. Self-evidently, I think, geometry is in everything, isn't it? Chippies. This is everyone's reminder to stay hydrated. Because vampires hate beer and love geometry. This is the, so I said it'd all be obvious. This is the logical overlap which creates the field in which I definitely do study as a vampiric geometer, because that's a real thing. Next slide, please. So as a semi-social scientist, as a person who studies semi-human beings, I had to get a lot of paperwork signed. Nightmare. In Romanian, which is a language I don't speak either. So, and then go out into the field and do field-gathered people, vampire people, in places where vampire people go, which is a real thing. And obviously did it at Walmart, which is where vampire people go to do their normal vampire people things. So I went to Walmart and I stood with a clipboard and I said, welcome, would you like to participate in some research? You would? That's fantastic. I'm very excited to record your answers on my clipboard. And the answers are on the next slide. Such interesting outcomes. Wouldn't you know it? Next slide. Well, isn't this just a turn up for the books? Because, of course, for vampires, the answer is no. Thank God. Next slide, please. Mind fucking blown. You wouldn't fucking believe what we discovered with our Walmart clipboard interviews of vampire people and the geometry that they definitely are fascinated by and I absolutely legitimately study. Mind fucking blown because... You all know and I don't know yet. Fuck. In ecological data, there's a lot of noise. Ask a statistician what that means. There's a lot of mess. There's a lot of moles. There's a lot of bees. Ask a statistician what that means. They'll tell you. It's definitely a real thing that they can tell you. But massive difference. You never ever get nice tidy results, but apparently when you study the geometric fantasies and fallacies of semi-human, millions billions of year-old beings, you get a once in a lifetime, a death time, a not lifetime opportunity to have the most profound results you've ever seen. So symmetrical, so geometrical. Absolutely. Next slide, please. Oh, what? I mean, what would you say if I told you that I was so grateful to have had the opportunity to have my mind blown by this incredible research? I have to thank my supervisor, Dr. Integrated Contingent Size. Thank you.
Shasta, ladies and gentlemen. Great job. Great job, digging deep. Now, in order to achieve the two things we need to achieve, which is hear from everyone on the board and leave this room at 10 o'clock at night, because that's when the dinosaurs come alive if you haven't seen the film. We're going to keep the 3-minute timer very strict now, so they'll have to go in 3 minutes. At 1 minute, you will hear me down there or one of my children go ping with that slightly irritated tone, like ping. You got a minute to go, and when I go time, you're out. That's it, okay? So the pressure's on. But that's because the final contestants are international competitors at PowerPoint Karaoke. We've flown them all over the world in Taylor Swift's private jet. Because the only way to save the world from climate change, because her friends all use it a lot, and it's not her fault. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Taylor Swift's New York apartment, Bianca. Yeah, Bianca.
Hello.
How's the catering in the jet? Is it good?
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
Very red, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit love story. I love a bit of Tay-Tay.
I'm so jealous. Okay, topic now, topics. Big football stadium and...
Wow, glitter.
Glitter. Okay, here we go. I'm talking of the importance of the deployment of glitter in our big football stadium. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Bianca.
Thanks, Rick. Okay, wow. So thanks for having me tonight. I'm Dr. Bianca. I'm a specialist in glitter in football stadiums, big football stadiums, not small ones, not the small ones we have in Tasmania. I've just come from Los Angeles where we specialise in glitter stadiums. Here to bejazzle and fajazzle what you've got in Tasmania. I'm here for a week, so let's get this Blunston Arena a bit more glittered, and I'll be heading up to Launceston on my circuit as well. So to start off with, this is no walk in the park, nor a sleep in the park. We've got to get busy and get the glitter going. Next slide, please. So true story, do not add glitter where it shouldn't be. I'm a barbershop singer as well, and I know where glitter shouldn't be. Glitter false eyelashes end up in places you don't want them to be. Just like if you have glitter from a stage, don't end that in the jock straps, etc. Tips. Next slide, please. So size does matter too. You don't want a small stadium, you don't want small glitter. You want big glitter, big stadiums. Tay-Tay has this down pat, okay? Tay-Tay is boss at this. And we can see also, we've got mooses too, thanks. Moose and poodles and noodles too. There's lots of noodles here. Noodles of streamer glitter. Let's do this. Next one, please. Okay, so actually this is from Fiji. I just came back from Fiji where we also created a whole range of glitter stadiums there. They're ahead of you guys. Third world nation, get on it. Tasmania is maybe the arse end of the world, but you can also be a glittery arse. Next one, please. Okay, so, oh wow. So this is the exponential rise of glitter stadiums. You can see that since COVID, people have been bored. People have been buying lots of glitter. And they also haven't been able to go to stadiums. Now, World Pride Expo is in Sydney next year. That's a huge glitter stadium fest. Why don't we have, satellite glitter stadium events all over the place? Tasmania, the arse end of the world, glitter stadium? What? So you can see that Tasmania is number 2. Actually, no, it's not. New Zealand's ahead of us, damn it. We've got direct flights with the glitter stream trail behind it. We need to get, above Queensland. Let's do this, glitter stadiums. Next one, please. Okay, now to do this, We need multiple forms of action. Every one of you, glitter in every orifice. Every one of you, any kind of glitter, biodegradable glitter. Now, don't microplastic shame me. We're talking biodegradable glitter for every kind of person. Every kind, every colour. Next one. Now, it is a recurring dream of mine that we do have these all upon the world.
Time.
Now, oh, thank you. Is that one minute?
Yeah, that's time.
Oh.
Did you not hear the 1 minute call?
Oh my God.
Oh, no. Okay, go on, wrap it up then.
No, that's cool. This is a recurring dream of mine. Really, it's going to be a nightmare. Thanks for having me tonight. Love you guys.
I didn't take your beer. Don't forget your beer. I didn't ping hard enough. That's kind of on me. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bianca. And I can just see Jeremy Rockcliffe with Gil McLaughlin there going, look, we might be the arse end of the world, but mate, glitter ass. That is a beautiful image, and you never would have heard that in the whole of your life if you weren't tonight at PowerPoint Karaoke, where the action rolls on with our next contestant. Please welcome Alyssa, who has bypassed the microphone entirely and in all black, ready to do some mime. Okay, topics for Alyssa. Chocolate. They're rowdy up there. Sorry, chocolate and?
Economic stability.
Oh, chocolate and economic stability post-COVID.
Am I allowed 3 topics?
Yeah.
I've only got 3 minutes.
Yeah, 30 seconds a slide. Are you ready, Alyssa? Are you ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, Alyssa.
Thank you everyone for joining me on today's tutorial on chocolate economic stability in the post-COVID era. So this slide will be in the test. I think this speaks to the economic stability at the moment. Can we afford a sushi, or are we investing in avocado toast? So this is actually a very special form of white chocolate. Here in the shape of a chicken. And this is more expensive than white chocolate in other forms. And these pill shapes have been particularly popular in the post-COVID time at the moment. I'm not really sure why that might be. Next slide. So I have spent a long time preparing these slides for today's tutorial. So we're just going to take a moment to work out what I've done. It appears to be a map, and you can see here the chocolate consumed per capita. Here we have the US, very black. That's a lot of chocolate per person. I'm not going to say anything about different countries, but moving on to the next slide. As you can see, but being small has its advantages, which actually means it costs less to eat more chocolate per your body mass, so that's really stable in terms of economic stability. You can get more cocoa intake per amount of body mass. Very cheap, very good, and I know there's been some post-COVID economic impacts, so it will actually cost you less to increase your chocolate intake. And here we have a museum, not really related to chocolate, but if you save money on chocolate by having a small body mass, you can spend your money in a museum. Next slide, please. Ping! So here we have a white chocolate golf ball. If you manage your finances very well, you can get everything made of chocolate and roll it around on the grass. As you finish the game, this could be a great tasty snack. Next slide. Lure deployment. So normally baits are made with like sardines and peanut butter and stuff, but we decided to skip that and go for chocolate because quolls love chocolate. Not really sure how it actually affects the metabolism, but all I can say is I caught a lot more quolls than anyone else's study. So next slide, please. Won't be publishing that materials and methods. So would this work for humans? And in short, my answer is no. We do not make friends with salad. We make friends with chocolate. I mean, has anyone tried to buy a lettuce recently? Like, how much does this volume of lettuce cost compared to chocolate? And what would you look like after eating that lettuce? not like this. This is clearly the chocolate body. Next slide, please. Great my fist, thou artless, toad-spotted wench. And that is what I said to someone who offered me that salad bowl. Thank you.
Bringing 10 slides home in 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Alyssa. Tied it in. Everything felt very relevant. I feel well informed now. Let's keep this night rolling on, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stage, Jordan. Look at that hair. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. Okay, topics. You know what I'm talking. Topics for Jordan. Hang on, this side over here. Wine. Appendicitis. Sorry?
Ooh. Wine goats.
Okay. Wine and its relationship to goat appendicitis.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, veterinarian specialist Jordan.
All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be my presentation on appendicitis in goats caused by excessive amount of drinking of wine. So as you can see, the revelation started way before I started studying this, back in the medieval era, when monks began making their own wine and they realised that their goats got fucked up. So one guy was like, hey, why don't we feed the wine to the goats? And this guy was just like, no, stop it, it's a bad idea. But unfortunately, the books fell out the window and everyone started reading them. So, next slide. Anyway, afterwards, next slide. Thank you. So afterwards, the literature got around for a while and people were like, hey, you know what? Who should feed wine to goats? Well, definitely vegans were like, that's a great idea. We should treat them fairly and equally. Where did they do it? Well, they did it in Rome because, hey, there's so much wine in Italy. The problem was that the milk that the goats were producing was giving people cancer. And that's why we ended up with the iPod. Next slide. So, where does this come into play when it comes to appendicitis? Well, everyone knows that appendicitis is going to be affecting something related within inside you. Now, appendicitis is obviously not a reproductive organ, but the impact that it has if you have too much wine and those goats are drinking that is that their reproductive organs seem to break down in a moment of extraordinary dance. Now, the goats are just leaping over the fences. So, next slide. Anyway, it wasn't just the goats that were dancing. The old people who were getting the cancer because they were drinking the milk from the goats were all dancing too. It's almost like that moment when that city in the medieval era in France just went crazy because they all got infected. That's what goats drinking wine, getting appendicitis can do to all of society. So this is a warning for all of you guys. So anyway, I started studying that full effect by watching these old ladies in Rome dance. Next slide. Now, what we could see was that these old ladies in Rome, they're dancing, they're drinking all this milk, it's giving these goats appendicitis, and they stopped eating donuts, but they became incredibly unhappy. Next slide. So, you have to ask yourself the question, is this a topic that was worth fighting for? I believed it was. Next slide. So, if a person tries to sell you magic beans, do you eat them? Do you take them? Yeah? Or do you make sure that they're good kinds? Well, I made sure that the goat's milk was the right kind of milk. Because if a goat is going to suffer from appendicitis, the first thing you need to do is make sure that it is going to be worth having. And hell, those people were dancing, having a good time. I mean, is cancer worth it in this boat, though? So next slide.
Time.
I guess we're just going to have to scoot out of here. But good luck for the goats.
Woo! That's great. Wow, interesting. Margot Adler's got so terrified by the standard of the competition, she's pulled out. And ladies and gentlemen, that means we have one more person tonight before we judge Lutruwita Tasmania's first ever PowerPoint Karaoke Bullshit Artist of the Year. Woo! Come on, give it up. Do you see what these people are going through up here? It's a nightmare. It's so hard, and they make it look so easy. Our next contestant, please welcome to the stage and make welcome our final contestant, Zoe. She joins us from Taylor Swift's jet from the work she's been doing in an exclusive research centre in Sweden. And she comes on stage tonight, very experienced scientist, communicator. She's been hanging out with Dr. Carl. Is he here? He's gone home. I'm so sad. I got a lot of weird Photoshop photos of him my son did. But Zoe is going to talk tonight on the topic of... Oh, hang on. I'm getting underarm hair. Dude. Let's go to this side of the room. Underarm hair and... Is Swift? Squid. Oh, great. Okay. Zoe, please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Zoe, who is going to talk about the incidence of underarm hair in squid and its reflection on a changing planet.
All right, masks off and facts out. All right, so we're talking about underarm hair and squid in a changing planet. So it's obviously very serious, very dark, and very deep. And that's why I've come all the way from my research institute in Sweden. And just for you, I don't know if you can really see because I'm wearing a little bit of a sleeve, but I've grown out my underarm hair. Yes, thank you. I do it naturally over 3 to 4 weeks. Anyway, I don't know if you're someone maybe perceived as a woman in this world who has ever grown out their underarm hair and dared to wear a singlet in public. You know what this bird is doing? That is what you want to do to the men that you encounter. Anyway, next slide. And so this gave me the confidence and the sincerity of Captain Crunch to head desperately into the ocean to seek the only people that I knew that I could ever find community with. Squids in the deep sea who also grow their underarm hair. Next slide, please. I mean, tonight we've covered how important potatoes are. The men who told me off about my underarm hair covered how important Bitcoin is. And the squids that I caught, and I'm sorry, I know that we're, family and community and everything, but I killed for my research and blah, 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 blah. They're refrigerated. Now, next slide. Sorry, squids. No one has underarms like that at a festival. This... Fake news. Next slide. Don't like it. This is more like my experiences at festivals with my people. Anyway, next slide. But of course, I am interested in the data. I am interested in the science. I am interested in the research. So after my grueling time out on Captain Crunch's beautiful new boat, the Noina, heading down south to see these giant squids, we got some camera images of very self-focused fucking cats. I came all the way to the Southern Ocean to see cats. I was after squids. It was very disruptive. It was hard, but also there is, I'm not a cat person, but underarm hair, a lot of my community are cat people. Moving on. That's not meant to be in there. That was me on my night home after I put in the paper. It was accepted. I've been drinking a bit of that. That's the problem with kids these days. They don't eat enough Jeremiah. Wherever I go, these men just keep following me with their judgments. But yeah.
Time. Oh, how bitter the irony of everywhere I go, men keep following me with their judgments. Time. So silencing. Rick Goddard. Oh my, oh my goodness. Amazing. We've got 2.5 minutes to decide a winner for this competition. We've had secret judges assessing the applause, but would you like to see all the contestants on stage again? Let's bring them all out here right now. Come on, run up, run up. There's not much time before the dinosaurs come out and eat us. And that weird actor, he's terrible, isn't he? Once he starts wandering around, he's in everything. Dreadful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at these bold, brave people so committed to knowledge. Have our secret judges made a decision about the 2 finalists, or are we going to clap through again? Are we going to clap through again? We're not going to clap through again. That's too painful. All right, we need our secret judge to talk to the secret person and then secretly tell me who the winners were, ladies and gentlemen. But first, a round of applause for everybody. Here we go. Yep, okay, things are being wrangled. Now, while I'm here, don't forget you can see Dr. Carl live at the Odeon tomorrow at 3 p.m. That's me trying to remember my notes at 10 o'clock at night. I feel pretty confident about that. When we're kicked out of here, there's the Speakeasy Bar at the Bond store that you can enjoy, and Beaker Street's got heaps more events. You know where the program is because you're here, obviously, and you can read a schedule. So do please enjoy those events, and thank you so much for coming tonight. I'd also like to acknowledge whoever made the slides. They were unbelievable. Right? They were so good. And if we can find out who they are so they can make money making presentations for everyone for the rest of their life, that would be really good. Now, have our secret judges secretly told us who the runner-up and winner are? And can I have that information, please? I just begged them not to make me do it because once they were like, Rick, can you MC this dog show? I'm like, sure. People are bringing their dogs and the kids will be there. It'll be really nice at Howrah. I'm like, okay. And they're like, and the kids are going to dress up as their favorite dog competition. I'm like, and you have to judge it. And man, they cry when they lose. Kids just cry. They cry. I made them cry. These guys are going to cry. And I gave them beer, so then they're going to get mean. Like they're from Darwin and it's got too hot and there's crocodiles. So the judges are just conferring now. Oh, thank God, I didn't have to do a musical act. That's not just a win for me. That's a win for you too. Okay, the runner-up.
No, it's an applause.
Oh, we're applause off. Okay, our 2 finalists.
Jack and Elisa.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2 finalists. So Jack, please come forward. Jack. And Elisa, our other finalists. I didn't ask for this, but we're having an applause off now. For Jack, can you just briefly recap the essence of your talk?
Clouds, boobs, ejaculation, STD.
Okay, it's identifiable, it's relatable.
Well, this was about taking Tasmania's precious native species and giving them something called a drug, which is kind of chocolate, but also it's a drug, and then seeing the economic effects of that on our economy here and how this affects Tasmania in the post-COVID era. So, woo!
Now remember, we're assessing plausibility and scientificness as much as charm. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack. Woo! Silence. Cleanse the palate. Elisa. Yeah. Jack. Elisa. Ooh. Yeah, he knows it. He knows it, mate. Congratulations, you're the runner-up. And it is my honor to crown you, Elisa, as the inaugural Lucha Tasmania Beaker Street Festival champion of scientific bullshit. Amazing. What a night of nights. I'd invite you to make a speech. There's no time. Get off. No, it's so good. Thanks to all our contestants again. Please give them a huge round of applause. Our dedicated interpreters. The makers of the slides. And Beaker Street Festival. If you enjoyed tonight and you wake up early, I'm on the radio every morning from 5:30 till 8. I don't know why, but I'm having a party every time. So do join me. Otherwise, you can stream it later. Beaker Street's fabulous. Find the events, see them, enjoy them. The Speakeasy Club is open. One more round of applause for our contestants. Thank you all so much. Good night.